Now, Mr. Speaker, to the immediate business at hand. You see, the other side of the story must be put. And it is my role to try as best as I can to put the other side, or to at least speak to the fuller truth. Speak to the fuller truth and put the other side and ask the probing questions and point to the serious concerns that some of us still have as Barbadians, notwithstanding government's loud applause of its own efforts. Now, Mr. Speaker, they boast under these arrangements, and I'm sorry, the honourable member for Christchurch East Central is not in his position at this moment. They boast, I'm not suggesting anything by that, I'm genuinely sorry he's not there to hear. That's all. There are good reasons why people have to leave the chamber from time to time, and I'm sure he is diligent about whatever business he has at hand, because I see him as one who's very hardworking in the ministry assigned to him. And I would say that, I've said it to him privately, and I will repeat it publicly. He is very hardworking. Does not mean I agree with every policy initiative that he champions here, but he seems to be very hardworking, and he puts the government's case as clearly as he's able to do. But I'm simply saying, Mr. Speaker, there is always a fuller truth. There is always a fuller truth that has to be said and spoken. We boast of a 26% haircut on our external debt. A savings of 26%, a shaving of 26.4%, is it? 26.3%, I think it is, on our external debt, which I think is about, or was about $2.4 billion. 26%. The honourable member for Christchurch East Central, when he spoke, referred to countries like Greece and Argentina. Do you know what the level of the haircut was that Greece was able to negotiate with its external creditors, Mr. Deputy Speaker? Not 26%, not 36%, not 46%, but 50%. A better deal than Barbados. The point has to be made that though we are glad that we have arrived at a seeming settlement of our external debt situation, Mr. Deputy Speaker, the point has to be made that though we can get on now with the business, having restructured domestically before, though we can now get on with the business of trying to right the ship of this economy, the fact of the matter is we're happy about a deal, but we cannot be overly glowing in our plaudits for the government when certain things are taken into consideration. So when we boast of a 26% shave, fine. But Greece, Mr. Deputy Speaker, got a 50% haircut deal, better than Barbados. Argentina, Mr. Deputy Speaker, got not 26%, nor 36, nor 46, nor 56, nor 66% haircut. Mr. Deputy, got 70% haircut. So we have to ask ourselves, did we get the best deal possible, or did we have to settle in the given circumstances for what we got? Now that is a legitimate question being asked.
On a point of...
I think the honourable member is misleading the House from the perspective that to compare firstly Greece and Greece's approach to restructuring to Barbados is not to compare apples and apples. Because Greece first is a member of the EU and benefits from substantial technical assistance that is provided out of Brussels to help a country which is significantly larger than our own. So we're not comparing the same things. And then to speak to Argentina, and that is really, I think, what prompted me to get up, because Argentina's debt situation is known worldwide for its disorderly nature. And we would not have wanted to go there, one, but Argentina is a much larger economy. So the size of the economy gives a country, a leverage that a much smaller economy will not have. So I don't want the honorable member to mislead the chamber by suggesting that there is some equivalence between a Greece, Argentina on the one hand, and a Barbados.
Okay.
We don't have the same leverage, so I think he's misleading the chamber.
Thank you. Continue.
And as I suggested at the outset, Mr. Deputy Speaker, through the forum, the honorable member for St. Peter speaks, and he speaks intelligently. But the person who introduced the comparison into this debate was the person who presented this measure here this morning in the first place, the honorable member for Christchurch East Central, and he referred to countries like Greece. And I hear the honorable member for St. Peter about the advantageous position of Greece within the European Union and stuff like that. But that strengthens my point, that despite the advantages which they have within that context, yet they were able to get a higher, a larger, a bigger discount on the debt than we got. They got 50%, Mr. Speaker, we got 26%. And if honorable members to my left wanted to speak to the fuller truth, they could have put the 26% that we got in context, in perspective, by making some of these references. They did not do that. They're doing it now in response to what I am saying. And all I'm trying to do is to give a broader perspective on what has been presented to us by them. And I think you understand that, Mr. Speaker, because we're speaking the fuller truth. Nobody is saying that the government is seeking to mislead the country or is bringing falsehood to the country. We are simply saying, if you're going to speak to these things, especially if you're going to applaud yourself, speak to the fuller truth.